Hello everybody and welcome to the AppleBruit podcast number 8. Lots of things to talk about this time as opposed to last week. I actually have 28 things to talk about this time, and a lot of it is the iPad mini and the iPhone 5, so lots of rumors out there. And before I start, I'm supposed to release this on Friday, but it's actually Sunday right now, and I'm still recording and I still have to release. I'm sorry about that. It's just that my schedule is totally bombarding me right now. But anyway, enough of that stuff, enough of the complaining and the excuses for me. Let's start it off with Mako Takara saying that the iPad mini is going to be produced in Brazil. Apple did buy a brand new Brazil factory there in September, and that it will release at some point in time in 2012, quite possibly the holiday season of 2012. And they say that the iPad mini will have a considerably different form factor, and it's kind of going to be like the iPod Touch, which means thin. It's going to be very, very thin. And I just clicked on the website, and right now everything is in, what is that, Japanese? I think those are Japanese characters. Okay, next. Sticking around for the iPad mini, Apple Insider says that the iPad mini will, the 16 gigabyte version will be $299. It will release at some point in time this holiday season, and that it will launch, this is what blows my mind, it will launch with the iPhone 5 and the Apple TV in the exact same event. Wow. And their source is actually Gene Munster and Piper Jaffray. Okay, first of all, I can believe that it might be $299. I can believe that it's going to be 16 gigabytes. I can believe that the iPad mini is going to launch at some point in time this holiday season. But it would really blow my mind if they say, hey, this is the brand new iPad mini, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's insane, it's going to change the world. Here, have my baby, take it. I just want the iPad mini. And then they'll go like, oh, and here's the iPhone. And like, oh my god, I'm going to blow my mind. And the brand new Apple TV. And everyone's just going to go nuts. Apple will rule pretty much the tech news for the week. But why not stretch it out? Why not say, you know what, this month we're going to release this. I can see the iPhone 5 and I can see the iPhone 5 releasing at some point in time in September, and then the iPad mini releasing at around late November or December, and the Apple TV releasing at any times in between that. That's what I can see. I can see that as a distinct possibility, but I don't know about all three of them launching all at the same time. All right, next, still with the iPad mini, this is from New York Times, and they say that it's going to be 7.85 inches. I don't know if you guys remember last week, a lot of people were like, it's going to be between 7 and 8 inches, or it's going to be less than 8 inches, and it's going to be 7.85. Well, apparently, according to New York Times, it's going to be 7.85 inches worth of screen, and it will come this fall. I don't know why it says it will be here this fall, maybe produced this fall, or I don't know. A lot of other people say before holiday season, but they say that it's going to come this fall, and it will cost much, much less than $499. That doesn't really give us much information when they say it'll cost much less than $499. Yeah. Oh, actually, my theory to that is maybe Apple releases some of these information like, oh, the iPad mini is going to be $249, $299, or $200, and they release it to certain people. And then whenever Apple gets a rumor that says, oh, it's going to be $299, Apple goes like, oh, it must be this guy, because that's the one that, that's the guy we told them it's going to be $299, so it must be this guy. So maybe they're covering their butt saying it's going to be much, much less than $499. Next, iPad mini still. And this is from gottabemobile.com. They say that they found pictures of the iPad mini engineering samples. So it's not the actual case, it's not the actual case of the iPad mini, but kind of like this plasticky model of the iPad mini. And this is meant more for case manufacturers rather than, other people. And apparently they see that it has what is it? The new 19-pin dock connector that Apple has, or the Apple is rumored to have, and also that the speakers are more front-facing, not exactly front-facing, but okay, here, let me explain. In the iPad right now, the speaker grill kind of is shaped so that it kind of pushes some sound in the back. Well, this one is going to be straight down. You know what? Look at the pictures. Click on the link that I got here. And they did show that the iPad mini compared with the iPad right now, and they kind of show the price difference. Me, personally, I would love to have an iPad mini because I used to have an iPad, but I didn't really use it that much. It was way too big. But I think an iPad mini would just be just right. Especially whenever reading these articles, reading these Apple articles. Because right now, I read every single one of them on my iPhone. I'm sitting on the bus, and instead of wasting my time playing Angry Birds, more of that on later. Instead of wasting my time playing Angry Birds, I'm actually, researching this kind of stuff. Also, I had a news article. I read a news article from Cult of Mac, I think, where they said, why does it make sense to do a 19-pin connector? Because a lot of people say, oh yeah, there's this 32-pin that we all use right now, and now Apple's going to say, oh, it should be a 19-pin connector, and we're going to change it to a 19-pin, and none of my 32-pin stuff is going to work. Well, they actually reasoned very well as to why Apple should go to 19-pin. Okay, here's kind of like the basics of what I learned from it as quickly as I can explain it to you guys. Whenever you plug in a USB device, such as a hard drive, whenever you plug it into your laptop, the laptop needs to download drivers, or at least not download drivers, but the laptop needs to know the drivers for that hard drive. But if you plug in an accessory for your iPhones or your iPods and iPads, if they were to use the normal USB, which is 4 pins, if they were to use that, it means that all these iPods, iPads, all that stuff, they're going to have to get drivers to support all of these third-party materials. But that's not the way Apple's going to do it. They're totally not going to do it. There's too many resources used up for that. Instead, what they said was, we're going to create 32 pins out there, and each of these pins will do something. So one of the pins is only used for the iPod. I think it's the iPod Nano, like 5th gen. I don't know what it was, but this one is specifically meant. This pin is meant specifically for the iPod Nano so that they can do a video out. And if you had an accessory for the iPod Nano that pulls video from the Nano, they would use this pin. They also had, I think, 8 pins that only refers to FireWire. So. And then a bunch of other, legacy pins that people don't really use them anymore. So it doesn't really make sense for them to keep it. So they could just get rid of it, and now they'll be stuck with 19 pins, and that's the reason. That's why we're better off with the 19 pin, because Apple wants to make it smaller to save some room inside the iPhone. And there's a lot of features that the 32-pin connectors support, because how old is it, like 9 years, 10 years? There's a lot of features that the 32-pin supports that not everyone else uses right now. I mean, I don't know anyone with a 5th gen Nano that plugs it into a dock that shoots video out into your television. I mean, kind of waste of space, waste of technology. All right, that was a tangent. Next, again, from Gotta Be Mobile. I don't know how they scored this, but they scored an iPhone 5 engineering sample. So previously, I told you guys about the iPad mini engineering sample. They found an iPhone 5 engineering sample, and it's pretty much just the shell of it. It looks metallic to me, looking at these pictures. It looks like a solid piece of metal. And I would assume that this is going to be used just for case manufacturers, because they do want to make stuff like that. And actually, I'm going to jump way ahead in I'm not going to jump. Okay, I'm not gonna jump. I was gonna ruin the fun of the future. Next, kitguru.net says that the iPhone 5, they have pictures of the iPhone 5, but if you're looking at these, oh, look at that. I'm trying to look at the pictures right now, and it says not found. So it seems like they've taken it down. Maybe they got in trouble with Apple, but they had pictures of this iPhone 5. That is supposed to be like, oh yeah, this is, I would say it's another one of those engineering models, but it does have ports, and I think it had a screen in it. Probably not a screen. No, it didn't have a screen. It was pretty much a plastic iPhone 5. And I think, this is probably just for case manufacturers, because if you saw the quality, the build quality on this iPhone 5, that is totally not Apple. I mean, totally not Apple. Next, From Mako Takara, again, makotakara.jp, they say that the iPhone 5 is already in production and that it is going to release at some point in time in September this year. They also say that with their new sources, say that the rear microphone on the iPhone 5 is now gone. If you're watching the video version, I'm showing off the previous article that I talked about this who is it? Gotta Be Mobile, where they say that they found the iPhone 5 engineering design. And if you look at the back of it, there is that microphone on it. Well, according to Mako Takara, there will not be a microphone on this, a rear microphone on this iPhone 5 model. And for some of you guys that don't know, that the rear microphone I'm talking about is this kind of like a slit in between the flash and the actual camera. So according to Mako Takara, that is not going to exist. Whew. Next, on Wall Street Journal says that mobile payment in physical stores could come next year, and at least when this comes to Apple's kind of stuff. And this is the NFC, of course. I'm referring to NFC, and they pretty much wrote as to why Apple is taking its time, because they want to do things right when it comes to these NFC kind of, scanning to buy your chips and salsa, scanning and using your phone as a credit card. And again, I talked about this a long time ago, but yeah, Wall Street Journal says they are going to take their time, and yeah. Next, digitimes.com. Hey, throw some salt on this one. MacBook Pro Retina 13 will be produced in Q3 2012, and it will release before October. So, between the beginning of Q3, I don't know, when's the beginning of Q3? I'm not going to use my brains to rack that one. It's actually pretty easy to find out. But, yeah, it's going to release at some point in time in October, and that supply chain rumors of reduced Apple productions are wrong. So there were rumors out there that says like, oh man, Apple is reducing all their laptops, their orders for the laptops. Well, Digitimes says, you know what, that is false. Apple is not reducing their laptop orders. In fact, they are probably increasing it. And I looked at some of their statistics, and Dell and Lenovo, and I'm just like throwing out companies here. I'm not quite sure if this is actually true, but Dell, Lenovo, and Samsung, their laptop production orders have declined. Meanwhile, Apple's has either stayed steady or increased. Next, makotakara.jp says that the new Ipod Nano looks like, actually, this is pretty cool, all right? They found, what is it? I don't know if they found actual pictures, but their sources say, oh yeah, there's going to be a new Ipod Nano coming out. And it's going to look like a mix between the square Nano we have right now, the current generation, and an iPhone. So it's going to go back to a vertical screen, kind of like the previous generation, and it's going to have a home button. That's going to be the weird thing with this one. It's most likely going to be touchscreen, but it will have a home button. And a lot of people out there are going to be like, oh my God, Apple's making, an iPhone mini. No. I don't see, if this was the case, I don't see Apple actually putting applications, as in, iPhone applications into this Ipod Nano. Maybe at some point in time in the future, but not right now. It's going to be, in-house applications that go into this Ipod Nano. And you know what? I actually like this new Nano that they're introducing, because first of all, it looks nice, and I'm not really a fan of those clippity, square Nanos right now. Next. Oh, here is the, hold on. I got this. Oh, no, I pressed the wrong button. Headlines. So this is me talking about headlines and pretty much things that don't have enough meat to actually talk in length about. All right. According to Think iOS, iPad mini schematics have been found, and it seems like these schematics are only for case manufacturers. So, yeah. Next, another headline, new iPad to launch in China on July 27th. This is according to Apple Insider. Oh my God, July 27th is going to release in China because the ProView suing thing is now over. Well, I guess they got the wrong sources on this one, because I think, I'm pretty sure about this, but Apple says, oh, we're going to release it on July 20th. So they're about 7 days off with this one. This is actually one of the first ever news stories that I've had that's been proven wrong before I released the actual podcast. Next, Mac Rumors says that the Thunderbolt prices could drop in 2013 because there was a 50% reduction in chips used inside the actual Thunderbolt cable. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you want to buy a Thunderbolt device, maybe a hard drive, it does not come with a Thunderbolt cable, which is a ripoff. Because now you have to buy this $50 Thunderbolt cable, which is, make or break situation here. But a lot of people don't understand that this Thunderbolt cable actually has chips inside it to control the data input and output. So, yeah, that's why it's expensive. But according to, the Mac rumor, there will be a 50% reduction in chips. I think there are 4 chips in the Thunderbolt cable right now. They can reduce that to 2 chips. And it's also going to produce less heat in the actual Thunderbolt cable, so they can engineer it differently. Okay. I just remembered something in my mind. I had a brain fart there. I remember something in my mind, okay? This is my theory. Apple says, oh yeah, we have this Thunderbolt port, and this port does 10 gigabits per second. But there is a theoretical limit of Thunderbolt, which is 100 gigabits per second, and that's going to be the optical. Version of Thunderbolt, because right now Thunderbolt goes through wire. Well, there's going to be an optical version at some point in time in the future that Intel is going to be pushing. I have a theory that Apple is going to call it, or somebody's going to call it, the Lightning port. Think about it. Thunder, lightning, light. Yeah, anyway. Next, BGR says that the MacBook Pro Retina 13 I already talked about this. MacBook Pro Retina 13 benchmarks. Actually, I haven't talked about this. You know what? I should just keep going with this headline. I keep saying it, but I never actually get to the point of it. Geekbench found a 2.9 gigahertz MacBook Pro Retina 13 in their test scores, and that this new unknown machine has a score similar to the high-end 13-inch MacBook Pro right now. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that Geekbench scores can be faked. Next, TechPP says that maps created on the Maps application that Apple's creating could go to the Mac. And that's because they found some code in iOS that says, hey, this might be ported into the Macs, Apple's MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, iMacs, all that stuff. 512pixels.net says that OS X Mountain Lion will prevent you from downloading it if the specs on your computer does not meet requirements. Which is good, because apparently, I didn't know this actually. Apparently when Lion came out and people downloaded it, and then they're like, oh, it doesn't run on my machine. Well, I just spent, I forgot how much it was, $30? Oh, I just spent $30 on that. Okay, that was pretty pointless. So apparently it'll stop you from downloading it. And actually, I don't know if this is true, but they should do the same thing if the specs in your computer doesn't meet the requirements of games from the Mac App Store. I don't know if that's, I don't know if they actually do that or not. No. Anyway, businessweek.com says that T-Mobile may get the iPhone in 2013, and their source was Sanford C. of Bernstein's Craig Muffett. I have no idea what I just said, but we're going to keep going. Angry Birds sequel could be in the pig's point of view. This is another headline from PocketLint.com, and headline. And now, on to patents and pie in the sky stuff, and pretty much just like wild things out there that is probably not going to happen anytime soon, or probably not going to happen at all. According to imore.com, Apple should make a super expensive iPhone because people do not feel exclusive enough to own the current iPhones that they have right now. Their argument pretty much says that everyone has an iPhone. Everyone and their dog and the cat has an iPhone right now. And before, when the original iPhone came out, it's this, brand new, super exclusive, super expensive thing that people had to buy and spend half their mortgage on. I'm just exaggerating a little bit. So they say that, hey, maybe Apple should make a super luxurious, I don't know, golden iPhone 5 with tassels on the side. You know, kind of like when you're a little kid and you got those rainbow tassels at the side of your bikes. No one else had rainbow tassels on the side of their bikes. I didn't even own a bike. So you guys are lucky. I mean, anyway. Next, another patents and pie in the sky stuff. Patent for eye travel is found by Patently Apple, and what it does is it uses your iPhone for boarding. So if you're in the airport, it's going to give you information on your travel stuff, and NFC used as possible technology. And after this, I think I'm going to talk more about the patents coming up, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't read any of the stuff after this, because Patently Apple totally just like publishes all these articles, and they are well written, but there are just so much of them, and I really can't keep up with that stuff. So, stuff that I didn't read. Patent. Apple invention allows smart card to be used in iDevices. You know what? I'm actually gonna look at this patent right now. I'm gonna look at the pictures of it, and I'm gonna try to sum up whether or not. Nope, I can't sum up that patent. Next, Apple files new iPhone case patent with noise windscreen reduction thing. And it looks like it's a case that just prevents wind noise from your iPhone. Next, Apple wins a major integrated multi-touch screen patent. And more. This is according to Patently Apple. Once again, I did not read this stuff, and I'm looking at the patent stuff, and it looks way too complicated for me. But apparently, Apple won a patent for multi-touch screen technology. Next, Apple invents new iDevice power clip and docking station system. This one I actually kind of skimmed a little bit. If you looked at the current generation Ipod Nano, the square one, pretty much they've invented a dock so that when you slide the clip that goes onto your shirt, that can now be clipped onto this dock, and the actual connections to this is on the actual clip. So you slide it into the dock, and then the connections meet, and now you can sync through your iPod. And this is actually a pretty clever patent. But what if you get those the clip a little bit dirty? What if you get the contacts, messed up? Is your iPod broken? Next, from Patently Apple, Apple wins patents for advanced MacBook keyboard. They also won a patent on creating music playlist and an iOS application windowing patent. And I'm looking at the pictures, and nope, I can't really discern anything straight from these pictures. Oh, this is terrible. Maybe I should just drop this this section of the patents. And you know what? Next, patent. Apple wins their 6th solar-related patent and more. So let's go try out to see if I can see what this article means. Looking at the pictures. No, nothing here. No. All right, next. This is number 27 of 28. I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost there. It's painful. I'm almost there. Apple's special project for a video telephonic headset wins a 2nd patent. Actually, this one I heard, and this was a long time ago when I talked about this this Google Glass version for iPhone, for Apple's Google Glass version, where they shoot the light from the side of your head and it bounces all into this piece of glass in front of your eye, and then it'll bounce back into your eye. So there's no physical screen in front of you, it's just light reflecting so that you have less eye strain. Well, apparently they won another patent to that, and I'm looking at the patent right now, and I can't really discern what it means just by looking at the pictures. And lastly, actually this one I read. 9to5Mac says that the iPhone 5 pre-orders are already available in China right now. It's insane. Yeah, the iPhone 5. People are already saying, here's a pre-order of the iPhone 5. But here's the thing. It's nothing official, and it actually just means some guy is going to stay in line, and he's going to buy the iPhone 5. And if you're rich enough right now, I'm looking at this picture right here. This guy is selling it for $8,599. That's how much somebody is willing to pay for an iPhone. That is insane. And I know for sure, this probably isn't fake because there's a lot of rich people in China and they're like, well, I don't want to line up for an Apple store. What's that? I mean, I'm going to be with the commoners out there, and these commoners are stinky. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, that's it. That's it, everybody. I'm done. Another episode done. I'm one more episode closer to episode 10. I don't know if some of you guys know this, but a lot of these podcasts, they fail before episode 10. So right now, I'm aiming to reach episode 10, and if I can get there, if I can get to episode 11, I'll be like, woohoo! I've passed one more hurdle towards making this podcast kind of the podcast when it comes to these Apple rumors. That is my goal. That is my goal, is to make a podcast about Apple rumors. Because right now, there are certain podcasts out there about applications, kind of like App Orchard or App Slappy. I really like App Slappy. And that podcast is now probably the podcast for applications. I want to be the podcast for Apple rumors, but I don't know. I'm having a tough time right now kind of keeping up with the Apple news and school and work and personal projects that I've started. So I might have to do something else to make the process of research and doing this stuff. I might have to do something else to make it quicker. But I do enjoy making these podcasts, and my goal is to reach number 27. That is my quit date. I don't know why I said 27, but when I reach episode 27 and I am super busy and I'm like, I don't know why I wouldn't be happy with the state of the podcast. And if I wasn't happy with the state of the podcast, or maybe somebody else out there created a brand new podcast that was way better than mine, and yeah, then I would have to say, you know what, that is my quit episode, is episode number 27, the dreaded episode. So you know what, if I'm around in episode 27, you guys email me and say, hey, congratulations, or actually, congratulate me when I get to episode number 28. But you guys should say, hey, congratulations, you made it to episode number 28. All right, well, that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'm probably not going to have as much stuff to talk about next week. Thanks a lot for watching, and have yourself a beautiful day. I'm serious, guys. Have a beautiful day. I'm serious. I'm not serious. I don't really care. Here we go. Outro music. I should have played this a lot earlier. Now I have to say something for the next 30 seconds while this outro music plays. Here's something interesting that I found. Whenever there's a slow news cycle, there are a lot more patents. There are a lot more rumors that come out. But if there's a lot of Apple news, then there are less patents. For example, this Friday, I think Rovio's new game came out, Amazing Alex, and there's one more game that came out from Tiny Winks came out, and then there's a bunch of other Apple news that came out. There were no rumors at all. But in the Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, when there were no Apple news, people tend to kind of like, release these rumors. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and see you again next time in episode 9 of the AppleBruit podcast.